All right. So I want to say welcome to all you who are new coming in, variations, different levels. And we're trying something new to the RDC family as well as the FDS growing family that's right behind us. And I know this is a video platform, but I like to be educational for everyone because we know that you come from different places, different areas of 17 plus syndicates, and you don't know what you stumbled upon. And you're saying, who are these two wonderful, amazing people? Well, I'm Lexus T, and this is your wonderful Hector Rivera right here, which is opposite of what I'm doing on Zoom. And there he is. We're going to start this conversation off with something that's amazing. So let me do the intro that I would do because all those who are listening from the beginning of time remember this. Welcome back to the RDDC and hashtag FDS, which is Flip the Switch. This is your girl Lexus T coming at you with everything from the heart where the talk is real and the vibe is live. If you're on TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Google Cast, Podcast Addict, Giovanni, we have so much more. SoundCloud, of course, and YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Yeah, we have about 10 more I'm missing, but work with me. Now, we're going on this episode, and I believe we're over almost to the 300s now. But when it comes down to this particular one where I have Mr. Hector with me, we're going to be talking about something that is resonating with the conversation of what we just kind of had a miniature glimpse of. But I'm going to let him give you the intro on what the name of this wonderful segment is. What is it? Okay. Well, he'll work on that in a second. But I think there's something going on with the platform itself, because obviously we can see him moving just fine right now. But technical difficulties happen. So this is called hashtag, I believe it's, the Ugly Duckling Part 1. There you go. There he is. He's coming in.
The Ugly Duckling Part 1. Thank you.
And we're in two different areas here. I can tell you, he's right there in the sun, more of a sunnier state. I'm in the more wintry. He's in the summery looking vibe down the south, and I'm up in the Midwest. So it does vary from the snowstorms and whatever storms they got going on down there. It's technical. What can I say, right? We're not here to sugarcoat it, baby. We're here to give it to you, serve it to you raw. Let's go. So can you repeat that again? I'm sorry. Uh-oh. I think he froze this time. And people are like, why are you laughing, Lex? I'm like, because it's so cute when he gets frozen, you know, like he freezes.
It'll be better, yeah. We're gonna have a more. Really? That's not cute. Yeah, that's not Mike for me. Not letting me just.
Okay, you know quiet. What? We're gonna hash this out. No, we're gonna do an Ugly Duckling fast track execute mindset breakdown. So this is Ugly Duckling FDS style. When we say FDS, that's flip the switch, meaning it's going to be boom, right? Rewind it, play it, do what you got to do. But we're going to give it to you, serve it to you right. Part 1, the Ugly Duckling. You want to give him something? You give him your first. Maybe we'll use this as a clip. Maybe we won't. But this is some bloopers in between. So there you go. Let's just use this for many things, okay?
Well, first, let's kind of summarize it and go into it. How about that? Let's talk about, you know, for those that don't know exactly what the Ugly Duckling is. So the Ugly Duckling is basically a story about a little duck, quote unquote.
Gosling or something?
Yeah, gosling. It's really, you know,
is it a goose? No, I don't think so.
Goose, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, baby goose, a gosling. Yeah. Whatever it is.
Swan.
Ryan Gosling.
Swan.
Oh. Whatever it is, it's not a duck, but it's called the Ugly Duckling, and he's born into a family of ducks where they find him somehow, some way. He's a part of them, and he ends up going and not enjoying life as much because he's just kind of shunned out. You know, he's the odd one out. He's the oddball. He doesn't fit in anywhere, so he just kind of tries to fit in everywhere, not being able to fit in anywhere because of how he looks. It's almost a discrimination factor, but it's more so having to do with who he is, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, from those I have to interject, right? Because but where that part is we have to start from the beginning of giving those who don't know about the Ugly Duckling, especially other culturisms that are across the seas. We see you from everywhere. I mean, literally, I didn't know these countries and cities existed, and I'm happy that you're on here and found us. But I mean, like, if you're probably saying, "Oh, this is interesting, Mr. Rivera," but what is it coming from? And we're gonna give you that clip. So I'm gonna let him tell you what we kind of got. We gotta get part 2 out there because we want to get a deeper segment of it from what I heard quite a while ago, from what we just brushed up on as well. So, I mean, are you okay with that? Okay, so he froze in that thoughtless look, right? I laugh because it's so, like I told you, his faces are amazing. I don't know if he's gonna cut that out right now or not, but if he does cut it out the clip, I hope he doesn't because it's pretty good. At this point right now, I probably shouldn't have interrupted as much as I did, but I had to get it to the point where I guess my mind knows that he's speaking of something we just saw. And for you who don't know, the ugly duckling itself was a gosling or a baby swan that was the egg was accidentally placed with a duck's hatchlings. So therefore, when she incubated them and so forth, she still warmed them up in the nest. I forgot how I got there. I think it tumbled out and got swept away, something like that. There's 14 different variations. Either way, that duck was born with the swan was born. The swan egg was hatched around the same time as the little ducklings. So what happened in accord of that? What happened was when they all hatched, the parents of the duckling looked and so was happy with all their 4 ducklings, and all of a sudden they see this weird, well, I guess so. I'm not sure exactly what they hatch out to be, but a white swan, which was meaning the baby swan came out, and they're looking like, hey. Now, some variations, the dad is yelling, oh, there he is. Okay. I can't see you move, but okay, now I can see you. Okay. So I'm just gonna give you a little salt and sugar. I'll get out of the way for him. But in that predicament, you played. Hey, that was nice. Thank you for popping back in. Like I said, no, it's so funny because it's so awesome. Though I love it. I love it. Let me just break it down quick because I had to do the sword thing. But anyways, in a nutshell, for him to finish what he's saying, I'm going to give you the quick little rundown. At the end of the day, we're having to do part 1 for this because he does go into an adult. Now we're talking about part 1 where he's still a baby. So he got born in the wrong nest. They looked at him and were like, "Ugh, you're not ours." Basically, cast away. He tried to fit in.
What is it?
But he didn't see any difference in himself, and nor did the ducklings until the parents were making it known, hey, he's not like one of us. Right? At the end of the day, that's where we're getting from. So if you want to finish what you're saying, I'm sorry. I just wanted to give them that little bit of a breakdown. And maybe on YouTube, I don't know about the rights. I think this is a Fair Share Trade Act. We're going to put some clips up here that you can check to, or maybe check it out yourself so you can understand what we're talking about. Yeah, maybe.
So we'll see what we can do about that. But I mean, that basically sums up the first part of it, and that's what we're going to talk about today, which is going to be the child part of it. You know, how he grows up, and it's him growing up, becoming aware, you know, that he's different. He doesn't know it, like she said. You know, he thinks hey, I'm a part of you guys. Hey, that's my mom too. I just came out. I seen her. That was the first thing I saw. And he ends up going and realizing, well, that's not really where I fit in. That's not really where I belong.
But why did he get to that conclusion though? Why did he feel like he didn't love? Because remember, he looked at her with love, and she looked at him with indifference. Like, I don't know you. What does that remind you of? What does that remind you of? You know what I mean? I mean, deeper level, but. Sorry. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. I have to interrupt him all the time because I like harassing him. We harass each other all the time. we harass each other 24 hours a day. Don't worry about it. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, she harassed me. So anyway, I'm just playing. But when it comes down to it, backing up a little bit, I forgot where I was at.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
The mama ends up, no, it's okay. The mama ends up going and kind of denounces him, you know, disowns him in a sense. Perfect and just doesn't want her really nothing to do with him because she doesn't know what he is, right? She's like, oh, well, you look different. Go on about your business. Kind of yells at him and everything. So she basically kicks him out.
Yeah, and you can't be mine. You're not mine. Yeah.
Right. That's horrible. Imagine that. Like right as soon as you're born, you get abandoned. You know, you get denounced. Well, you're still conscious and you know what's going on, but young enough to where you can't exactly fend for yourself. That's crazy.
But if you
And
think about
he
that,
just goes on to that little journey.
who?
Go. Sorry.
Who?
The duck,
Well,
the Gosling,
okay. Well,
the
you keep
swan.
going in between. It could be a she or a he, right? We're assuming it's a boy duck, but he's right. So he says she or he. We don't know. So I don't want to be discriminatory either. So yeah, it could be a she or he. How the story goes in different variations. But I was also gonna just piggyback on what you said, and that is, she was like, "Hey, I don't know what you are. You're not one of us." But here's the thing: if that had been her biological, now animal senses, we might say, well, of course she knew it wasn't her duck. Yeah, but what if your kid, and a lot of people, I'm just saying, if this is you, accountability. If you want some help on that, I will send you a free download of accountability. Okay, and you can purchase the book afterwards if you want and find out some other cool stuff. But that means all of those. Now I see the parents who really can't take care of their kids, where you guys are kind of sitting there like, I want the best for them. I'm gonna try to give them the best. But, or pero, like I like to say, what about those parents who leave babies on the side of the, no, we're not going controversial, but this is how it is for the ugly duckling. This is how we feel internally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. There's parents that have babies with Down syndrome, autism, all kinds of stuff. And because they don't look like the description of what they should look like, even though they're not a white swan instead of the orange duckling, they still shun those kids, so that not part of them, but they move it. Now, just imagine that must hurt worse. But thankfully, there's people out there to pick up after that. And there's just some people who throw away babies because they're ignorant as hell. I said it. And they like to put them in trash cans and don't think about how they would feel. And if you're one of them, please get off my show. I'm just letting you know, like, I don't care. I do not care. Let me know and I'll come pick the baby up personally. Let me know. But don't worry about it. We don't need you after the fight. Send a postcard, but you're gonna treat no baby like that in front of me. So at the end of the day, that's what I wanted to put in there as well. Just interjecting. I'm so hyped up about this because this conversation was supposed to happen a couple months ago, I think. But yeah, it's something that's so deep. The ugly duckling. Let me take it for a moment too. Can I take it for a moment? So I don't know. Sometimes he's paused, sometimes he's not. I think he might be paused because he hasn't moved in like 20 seconds. But the ugly duckling, the reason why I'm so hype about this is because that's the way a lot of us grow up every day. You get that? We grow up. Besides, there's a song called I Know Victoria's Secret, and she was made up by a dude. I don't know. I don't have the rights, but I've been hearing on the radio back and forth. I couldn't understand it at first. Now I got it. But a lot of us grow up like that. Me growing up, seeing a magazine with no one ever looking like you. And even if you're the same color, quote, quote, culture of the person, you still look at like, man, I don't have these, bony attributes or this and that, or eye color, haircut, whatever it might be, or curvaceous, whatever. And we grow up thinking we're the ugly duckling where we never fit. And sometimes we can make ourselves not fit into our own families because of how we feel so disillusioned and disconnected from all that is when it comes down to being a part of our families. You see, I just want to put that in while I still have the energy to do so. And I think Hector's trying to come in on here. Maybe we're Brady bunching it, but I see two of him and one of me. Now there's three. He looks gorgeous enough to put it for the third one. Let's just leave it there. You can focus on the beauties. So can you say something so I can see if you're audible?
So we're back.
Yeah, perfect.
Technical difficulties. So where were we?
Where were we? I think I was just helping them talk about some of the things that were going on with how we don't love ourselves when we see ourselves as the ugly duckling. That's why I finished it off the segment. I said I was so passionate about it because it's true. We still live up to that now.
So what ends up happening too, if you go more in depth into it, is the gosling, the goose, the swan, whatever it is born full of love, full of joy, and throughout the journey that it takes, it ends up painting a self-image of itself, thinking it doesn't belong and it's not beautiful because it doesn't look like such and such, right? And it ends up deteriorating its self-esteem to the point where whenever he finally, because in this version, he went and at the end, he found some other ones that looked like him, and they kind of went up to him while he was crying, and they were all, honking, whatever they do at him. And he got joyful. And when he finally jumped in the water with him and everything, he saw the mama and he immediately started swimming away. She didn't even say anything yet. She didn't even do anything yet. But she started swimming. He started swimming away, whatever it is, started swimming away because of past experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we seem to be trained in the same way as that duck, as this story tells. We are trained the same way in the sense that it's habitual. We know how it's going to be. We understand what the response or reaction is going to be from the different ones that have already occurred in the past. So we tend to get into a paradigm, basically a belief system, in which we expect what's going to happen. So because of outsider and those past transgression, those past situations, he ended up going and becoming a piece of it. He becoming wounded from it, to the point where he was just like, okay, well, everything's gonna just happen the same way. So now he has a deteriorated self-image, and his self-esteem is really low because of things that have happened in his past. But what he doesn't know is that if he would have stayed in those groups, something could have gone different. He may have not flown to the heights that he was supposed to fly in. He could have never reached his full potential, whatever it may have been. But it harmed him in the way he learned from hate. Same with the other ones that were children of the ones that judged them. They ended up going and judging them because their parents were prejudiced to them. And they ended up learning that hate, right?
Yeah.
So everything's taught. Everything's taught in one way or another, whether it be by our parents or by experiences we go through. And we end up staying stuck in them. And a lot of the times we don't learn from them. So in situations like that, he could have learned a different multitude of things, like patience, or being the bigger person, or just showing love even through adversity. He could have learned multiple things.
I'm just like, I'm agreeing to every point. I'm just like,
You're the passenger princess.
The passenger, the queen, the one, the goddess.
Don't
forget it, boom. But I'll be
smiling nod. But yeah, it's very deep in the sense of how open children are, how open we are as children, as infants.
I have to interject because this is our conversational moment right now.
Go ahead.
Lex is gonna do. That's how we do. We take over, a hostage takeover without being a hostage. You want to be here. You're not a hostage because you want to be here.
Not a hostage because you're freed by the truth.
Moving on. I'm gonna do that from now on. Moving on. Woo. That was kind of nice. No. It's not to interject you, but when you said you were stretching or stressing the factor of children, and that's very, very important. But at the same time, it goes on beyond that too. Yeah, the seed is planted. That's what I'm saying. So I'm looking at you saying the seed is planted, and that's where it goes on to. So think about that as a child, having that, as Hector saying, growing from that. Now I wrote some side notes over, and I was remembering in the beginning when Hector was saying that, I said he looked at himself in the water and felt disgusted. Now in that version of creation, I remember from all the couple versions I've seen, he did look in the water. So now he was really getting a phase. It scared him at first because it was water. Ooh, who's this?
Yeah.
But it gave him a thing to say, look, now you know the phase of rejection. That's what it taught you. Now you understand what they're keeping away from you. Yes, so I'm going to tell you, people, remember that. So the next key point was he learned how to reject himself from an outside appearance. So that's what we're speaking of. Okay, so now when I looked at myself growing up, my sister, God rest her beautiful soul, that I actually seen as partly my mother growing up, that was her sister mom. So when I saw her growing up, she was about the complexion of Alicia Keys, Mariah Carey. She had very honey greenish kind of hazel eyes and like reddish kind of hair. So she was always like, ooh, everybody awed over that. Beautiful still. She didn't ask for that. But at the same time, that's what I saw. My abuelita también, my grandma too. Excuse me. She had that beautiful structured, those old hairstyles they wore back in there with the Supremes, or I want to say Marilyn Monroe styles, different ones like that. Beautiful with dishwater bluish green eyes, but super, super highlighted skin, even lighter than Mariah Carey. She could pass for a Caucasian woman. So at the end of the day, when I grew up, they looked at me with love, but I also saw like, it's not my beauty. That's not what I see. And even if someone doesn't instill that in you, any slight difference of you getting an extra Cheeto than I did, I'm thinking, man, either because I need to just stop eating them, or because she's older, or because she's prettier. So I had everything out of my mind. Oh, I'm younger. I don't look like her. But then after I learned how to embrace myself, after I kept looking in the water, because for so long, after my hygiene, I wouldn't look at the mirror at all. I could not look at myself more than a couple of minutes growing up. So therefore, I would get angry. When I went out to my car, I just saw the side of me that wanted to dominate the world that I knew. And for me, I didn't care about if anyone wanted to be with me or not, because I had to be my own tough, mean self. So I'm like, well, get it how you live it, But I want to implore the rest of you just to say, I just want to say this because I'm full of energy right now. And you might not see that on the next show, but Hector understands why. Okay, we understand those things. But he looked at himself in the water and felt disgust. So if there's any of you that feel like, man, what I am is not the beauty of perfection, or I don't want to be with anyone, Lex, this is just something personal for me, you have to think about it. Is it something that you really would change if you had no comparison to change it? Would you go get bigger breasts if you didn't see a person saying, hey, a woman with bigger breasts are beautiful? Or a guy who's 6'5" is the ideal basketball player. You need to be with the football NFL star. You need to go on here and sing like The Voice and look this way or be this way. Or girls killing themselves to be on the runway of places like Victoria's Secret. There, I said it. And, like they have some beautiful cologne over there and perfume, just to let you know, hashtag. But but that's all I wanted to say with that.
Yeah, because even when it comes to that right there, even things like that are learned behavior, like you said, having a 6 foot whatever person, and it shows you just how much it is, because that's outwardly appearance. That's literally judging a book by its cover. That's wanting a certain image. Is wanting an image, and it even goes, and I don't know how much more obvious it could be, but it's like you want a man that's 6 foot with a 6-pack making 6 figures, like you know what I mean?
Boom,
like how much more obvious could it be that that's structurized
you just do the
by the
6
adversary? That's what I'm saying. So it's deeper than that, and everyone just falls in place into that. Everyone just falls in place into that structure of, okay, well, this standard that was made by people trying to control is what we need to go off of. So I need to look like this. I need to look like this. I need to look like this. Otherwise, I can't love myself. So to the point of embracing yourself, because I'm pretty sure everybody has had their fair share of insecurities. Even myself, for once, I was insecure about my height. Just my height, because that's part of the sixes, is you got to be 6 foot. But now I'm like, well, this is what I am. I can't change it. Absolutely. And I'm proud of it. This is who I am. It's a part of me. It's a part of how God made me. So there's no reason for me to want to change it. I can go and get like what is it, shin extensions? What is it?
I think they go up
there's a way they can do it to make you taller, right?
To 4 or 5 inches, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
5 inches on your head, yeah. The knee extensions, yeah.
But for what? What is it gonna do for me? It's not gonna do anything. But people that would go do that, for the most part, again, it's their self-image. It's for their own type of wanting to pull up their image for themselves, and not only for themselves, but to be tolerated and validated by other people. So just like the ugly duckling, it's searching for love outside. It's searching for that embracement outside. He even went out and at one point went to that one, what was it, like a fake duck or something, trying to find love with it.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Yeah, the wooden duck. It was I
It was
think it was
it
one
was
of
like a decoy.
those bobber ducks or whatever, rocking back and forth. It was like one of those
Yeah.
the decoy ducks. Yeah. It was just like,
And
and you know what? Let me just do a key point. This is all coming out from the only one that could give it to, and that's the creator of all things. Thank you. Hallelujah.
amen.
Okay. I blessed be their names. But I'm gonna say that right there. Now you could take a lot of breakdown now. Hector and I have
Oh
talked about
yeah.
this, and we're talking as kind of doing a trio here. But ultimately, well, it's all over, I guess, because it's like I had to have an epiphany. I'm like, wait a minute, there's thousands of people. Okay, okay, you know what I mean. Okay, but I looked at it.
We're a group.
Yeah,
Hey,
we were
come
looking
on,
through the
man.
clip. Now we're gonna look for a deeper breakdown for part 2. But this right here was to also say, okay, the wooden duck was the fake decoy. Keyword, the decoy. So the fakes that we know are there, but we're trying to make them real just to feel that love. Because what he did was he started snuggling up to him, started coming up to him and just like,
There you
oh,
go.
I love you so much. But as soon as when he started playing around with that decoy and seeing it rock, the decoy was just fake, put there to be the matrix jinx in the chain that we don't see coming, but we know we feel. Now he knew when he felt that he wasn't feeling no warmth from the bosom of that wooden thing. But he said, you know what, you look kind of like something I remember. Let me make you what I want you to be. And what happened in return? Rocking on that wooden decoy, he slid off of the
Amen.
and the decoy was boom, hitting him on the head, didn't care if he hurt him. And as he swam up to the shore to be like, whoa, what's going on? It's fake. It doesn't care if you hurt or if you die or if you need love. It's just fake. And that's the things that we put in our lives. From me grabbing a bag of chips or a bottle of peanuts, I could say it's a tick. I could say it's my nervousness, which is a combination, but I'm still looking for emptiness in those things that are only going to give me heartburn, calories, or something else. Okay. It tastes good, but it doesn't do good later on. So apart from that, do you look for decoy love? Hector, have you looked for decoy love? I've looked at
Absolutely.
situations where I left the situationships, just him and I coming on our journey. We'll have a private cast about that. But at the end of the day, I saw it. I'm like, well, once I understood that I had control over it, I said, well, let me allow these people to feed from the cup that God gave me to be able to do what I do naturally. The moment they start messing with my humanity and my life and my children, future tense, then I have to back up. That's when you know. But if you're unaware and you let those people come into your life as the decoys, you'll keep running from one to another until eventually they'll bob you so far down the water that you might not get back up. So I just want to say, fake love. People say any kind of love is some love, Lex. No, it's not. Because if you're not here tomorrow to live throughout that and tell your story, that love, fake love, just killed you in some way, shape, or form. And God forbid you have children that you let around that fake love or people who don't have good intentions. That comes with a lot of consequences. The ugly duckling, hashtag the ugly duckling part 1 comes with a lot of stories. And I think it's just an old wives' tale of conversations or the old fairy tales or folklore. I don't know if there's any kind of copyright to it, but we're getting inspired by it and not owning it. But we're owning the conversations of what you can learn from it. Just want to pass the mic. Boom. Just want to pass the mic. I had to say my outro.
Well, that was good. Yeah, that was deep. I was mesmerized. I didn't even realize. I forgot I was the one the mic was being passed to. I was like, oh yeah. Keep going.
But it does though, because you know what? When you live through being that, ugly duckling, you're like, man,
yeah.
If I would have knew what I know now from what I didn't know then, what would I have changed and what could have been better? Or would I left everything the same because now my life is better, but could I have skipped 7 years of craziness? See, when we sign up for online courses and you guys come to Soul Ties Entanglements or SOB, you're not necessarily paying for, well, mention the person who's presenting it, what's presented, and what comes along. We get that. But you're also coming for the 5 to 7 years or the 70 to 200 G's or even 10,000 or even 1,000 could be your whole life. It's like at the end of the day, you're looking at that to rid yourself of that. But we always have to play it right because you only have a few chips to play. So the ugly duckling is the same thing. I have to look, and don't get it twisted. We're not sitting here saying we don't have those paradigms and issues. We're saying that now we're aware of them. So we actually shame ourselves in a healthy way to say, look, there's no reason Makeup, no, I don't have it full. If I want to wear makeup, I will. But at this point right now, Hector helping me more with those paradigms and me understanding that as I came into the fruition to say, yeah, moving home. It helped me get to the point where I'm like, why am I still seeing myself like that? The bags under my eyes, the little dark spots and dark places. I can't do it. I have super hyperpigmentation, but if I didn't, it's no one's business. At the end of the day, if you can't lift me up, and I can't lift you up, then to me, there's no business to be had. That's how I feel. You know, if you need that, that's fine, but don't sink someone else's boat just because you're willing to jump on any ship to become that. Now, Hector can tell you some conversations to be telling you, hey, Ugly Duckling, yeah, he found himself in situations, and I did. In the beginning, I would say in Cali, that's what that feeling was coming, and I still had to learn a little bit more later on. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm the most beautiful creature that has ever walked this earth. And no matter how many times you got to tell yourself that, you got to believe something. You still have breath to keep moving on, no matter what you do. And if a person can't look at you crazy looking in the bed when you wake up in the morning, hygiene on point. You wake up in the morning, people, I'm saying my females out there too, but you got your stuff. You're good. If you can't see me as the most beautiful creature that you ever came across every morning, the way I'm looking at you, then you can go straight to Hades. That's why I say. And you know what? Maybe get your eyes fixed, but I'm not here to convince you of my beauty. I'm not here to convince you of my beauty, but honestly, that's what I wanted to say for my part of it. For hashtag the Ugly Duckling part 1. Hector can take it on or whatever he wants, but I had to get that out because I feel so many of you restricted by that. And if you really want to know one more thing before I go, or before I hush, maybe you're saying to yourself, hey, Lex, shh. You're talking about what most of us go through, but maybe from the abuse, maybe from the molestation, maybe from the beatings, maybe from the assaults of the mentality from the people I grew up around, put those things there too. And that's what I mean. It's all of the above, honey. And you can sign up for that later. We're going to have soul ties and entanglements to go through all of that in a special conversation for those who have been in those situations that is very near and dear to psychologically trauma triggers. But just remember, whatever those people did to you, even exes or not, whatever those people did to you had nothing to do with your fault. Just want to put that out there.
Absolutely.
And that's one of love you, RDC and FDS. I can't even do it
right. But that's one of the biggest things too that I realized whenever it came to self-love. It came to just starting off from a little bit. This I'm gonna take you out through my journey really quick, right? But it started off with a little bit, you know, just liking one thing about me, and then it kind of started going into more and more and more until now I'm to the point where I'm like, well, I'm awesome, you know, I'm kick ass. Like I started realizing that the real beauty is in the character. You know, so after I had already kind of was like, whoa, I'm all right when it comes to looks and appearances and all that. I was kind of like, well, screw that too. You know, my character is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I ended up coming to terms with is your character is really how beautiful you are. See, you can look like whatever that 666 thing looks like, but if your character is ugly, then why would you get anything else in return? You know, you're still going to be unfulfilled in the ways you come about it because you're going to constantly be striving for that image that you can never attain because it's a false image. Just smoke and mirrors, right?
Yeah, that is, yes, just like smoke and mirrors. Who you calling, man? Yeah, like, hey, that's something we got rolling out. Smoke and mirrors. Be on the lookout for that one. I do see that because no matter how much plastic surgery you get or how much alteration or what you do, you still would be leaning on that one friend or that person to make you feel beautiful. You still would be depending on that surgeon to make you. It's still never going to suffice anything. And if you're doing it simply purely for the fact that you want to try something weird and quirky, hey, kudos to you. Please be safe. Know your information. But if you're doing it so you can fit into a bubble, like, well, honestly, think about this last thing. Why would you want to alter something so drastic to fit into the perception of someone who doesn't even fit into your perfection of beauty? Like, I don't get it. Like, you're never going to love anything about them anyway because you can't even accept yourself. Okay, so I just want
right.
to say, without any more discrepancy of Ugly Duckling kind of teaser, because it's gonna be a teaser. Yeah, you know, because in part 2, this is a really deep topic. To finish off the story and go, this has to be more than that. And regardless of where we are with it, hopefully everything will prevail in the next several weeks or not. So it'll be rolling. Okay, maybe I'll do a little birthday bash with you. I don't know. But wherever you are, just remember this is for information for you. It's about who it hits inside. It's not about the likes or comments or subscribers, right? But if you like it, you can hit a like wherever you're seeing this, or just give a heart. And you can subscribe if you feel like you need to do so, or just catch us on the flip side or wherever else you go. So remember to be the change. Feel the passion, embrace the power of that wonderful, deep, vibrant spirit that the creator has put in you to do the best you can with it. And basically, I don't know, his lips are moving, but I can't hear his audio. So it's cute.
I was basically lip syncing you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I just want to put that on. This is your girl Lexus T, and this is Ecto Rivera. And if he wants to add anything, go ahead.
No, nope. That was perfect cutoff right there.
Moving on.
And we'll see y'all for part 2, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.